great start here at episode 16. Now I'd like to move on to the first interview portion of the show. I'm very excited to have this young man on the show tonight. He's the executive director of BLUE1647. Guys, please welcome to the stage Emile Cambry. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. I showed up at BLUE1647 down, what, is that Pilsen?
Yeah, Pilsen.
It is, yeah. I showed up down there in Pilsen and I was like, hey, I host a talk show. And they're like, no, I don't know who you are. What show? And I was like, I have a business card. They're like, great, man, great. Come back tomorrow. But I called and I sent some emails. You were kind enough to respond. And once they figured out that we were doing it in the Frontier, they changed their tune. So.
You should have told me we had a great audience.
I should have said that. And I will next time. Emile, for those who aren't aware of Blue and what it is you do, I'm sure you have a soundbite because everyone's asking. What do you guys do down there?
Yeah, so we're a network of technology and innovation centers. So our whole goal is to say, hey, innovation should take place in the communities and it should be at the community level. So let's make sure we don't water down curriculum, we don't water down the culture, and we bring people together to have good times, but also to build some things that are worthwhile.
Wow. Yeah. Sounds like something I can get behind. So is this like school? Is it like kids come and they're learning about what, like coding and technology? I mean, is this like, hey guys, come and sit down and read a textbook about coding. Learn to program basic. Is it like that?
No, I mean it's different, because ultimately we want to be that third place. You have school, you have work, there should be a third place that people can go to be able to learn stuff, because ultimately it's about building applications, building websites, and using these digital skills, but it's also about being around people that want to build cool stuff too, and that's what we try to bring together and foster a culture of creativity. And we have filmmakers, artists, musicians, a bunch of people that are just doing amazing things in and around Chicago and also in our other places across the country. Artists working on coding? You'd be surprised.
I would be surprised. I would. I mean, this is a multidisciplinary place that you have down there.
Yeah, I mean, games need cool artwork, and but also, it's creatives. It's about really bringing creatives together and figuring out how do we all combine together like Transformers and be a monster.
Yeah, now you're speaking my language. Well, we're a little bit about your background. You had a chance meeting with, what's his name? You were in the gym and you ran into, God, what is his name? The chance meeting you had in the gym.
I think he's president or something like that.
Obama. It was Obama. Obama. Yes. You were in the gym and you just went for the elliptical and he was like, excuse me,
Well, see, the thing is, he had spoken at Martin Luther King Assembly that I happened to attend, and, to be perfectly honest, didn't think anything of it. So I went up to him and said, hey, man, that was a great speech that you had, And he said, I have a campaign coming up, and this is like 2001, 2002, so obviously I couldn't get a job anywhere. So I said, hey, why not join this campaign and see what this is all about? And, the rest is history.
Because you studied econ at U of C, right?
Yeah, so, right around, after 9/11 and just the way the economy was going, there weren't those investment banking jobs. So when I was a freshman, I was coming in and I thought I was going to be pre-med. My dad's a doctor, and I thought that was the route I was going to go. But all my teammates, I played baseball in college, and they were getting signing bonuses, and I'm thinking, wait, I think I want to make a little money one day. But they didn't tell me that the economy was going to collapse either.
They didn't tell me either. Did they tell you guys? No. They should get on that. That should be a thing that they do. But I mean, Emile, this sounds good and all, but I mean, teaching kids about technology, I mean, it's kind of a fad, isn't it? I mean, in 20 years, it's going to go out, and then they'll just have all these coding skills and be like, I can't, I don't know how to use a butter churn or something. Technology is cyclical, right? It's cyclical.
I mean, honestly, it's just something we're all going to be a part of in some way, whether we like it or we don't like it. I mean, you're not going to see a 21-year-old 10 years from now is going to say, I don't like technology. mean, it's going to be part of it. And once again, it's a tool. It's not the be-all, end-all. You're not a magical sorcerer if you have a technology skill, but you're just, helping to be able to solve problems and being able to connect all the great things that are taking place.
That's great. I mean, you could tell them though, if they become Missouri lawmakers, they could become wizards. I'm just putting that. I don't want to tell you what to do.
How could I forget?
Sorry. Well, that's good. That's good. And you mentioned this third place. Yeah, there's work, there's home, and there's the third place. Where did this come from? Did you have a third place growing up?
I didn't. The thing is, it was we designed a place to be a place where 15 years ago me would have wanted to be. So it doesn't look like a sterile environment, like a classroom or like a school. It looks like a place where fun things are happening. So there's murals all around the perimeter. We have a lot of cool chairs, and it's kind of like Google in the community, which for a lot of folks that we work with, they've never seen that. So they're like on the hammocks and they're on the bean bags and all this environment. Where ultimately we want the students to say, you know what, I want to be here. I want to spend a lot of hours here. I want to learn something. And also to see someone 20, 30, 40 years older than them working on the same stuff.
Yeah.
I'm warming up to it. So I mean, this is a place. It's not formal. It's not like school. People come and go. I mean, you do have classes though.
Yeah.
There are more formal parts of this, but it is also a place you can hang out.
Yeah, because when I think of a class, I think of a place you go and you kind of just leave once the class is over. We think of this as a place where you come and you just happen to be taking a class, but you can co-work, you can connect, and also we can just see a lot of great people working on other things. So you see a lot of the people that are in there, they say, they just happen to introduce themselves to one person or another person. This person is working on Empire, the TV series. This another person working on a movie. This other person is coming out with an album. This other person just happens to be working on an app. So you get that dynamic place, and you don't want to leave there because you see a lot of good energy, and it's ultimately like that's part of our DNA.
It's almost like you can't really formalize innovation, right? I mean, things are just going to happen organically in such an environment with all these interdisciplinary, people who are interested in different things. Who knows what will come out of it?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about a school, right? A school is some place where you just go, you want to leave, right?
Yes.
You're there for 3-4 hours. You're tired, and you want to go home, and you're drained. The lights are bad for you. Just all these things that just say, you know what, that's not for me. And we wanted to create the exact opposite of that. What would the 21st century educational center where people want to come looks like? And that's kind of what we tried to create.
That's awesome. So beanbag chairs, hammocks.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You're burned out, you're working on a problem or you're working on something, and you're just hitting your head against the wall and you want to just relax. Otherwise, you would just pack up your things, you go home, and hopefully, that writer's block ends. But you sit on a hammock, you talk to somebody else, and before you know it, they help you through that problem.
That is, well, like I told Mike, when you do get to a question you can't answer, you skip it, you come back to it. Percolation.
Right. Percolation.
Write that down.
I like that.
So the thing I want to ask about is, I saw an interview you did that said the best part of doing this work is seeing the kids, after they leave, they gain these skills and they have these experiences and then they leave and go on to other things. What are some things that are going on with people who have experienced Blue?
Yeah, I mean, we have some folks that are working in Silicon Valley right now, making a lot of money.
I've heard of it.
And donating some to us too.
Very nice, very nice.
But we have some others that are just, teaching others that are younger than them to actually build apps and build different products and solve problems in their communities. And we see a lot of folks we've had students that started off and said, hey, we didn't tell you, but we were homeless at the time. Because of your program, it became an outlet for us to be able to build, and then because of the skills we acquire, we're able to get a job. And you can't help but be moved by those stories, and you say, you know what, I want 10,000 of those stories. I want 100,000 of those stories, and that's what we work towards.
Yeah.
It's not just Chicago. I mean, you had a visit from, what was the trade secretary from the Philippines?
Yeah.
Dick Durbin came by last week. You already have 2 locations in St. Louis, and you have another opening up in Croatia.
Yeah.
I mean, slow down, man. Come on. This is crazy. I mean, what's next? It is like technology. I mean, I know it's not cyclical. It's exponential, right? Once it starts going, there's no stopping it. I mean, where do you see this going? Where do you see it? Do you see an end? Do you see this wave cresting?
I mean, we want to just keep going where the demand is, but ultimately, we just say, if just because it's not my city doesn't mean I don't need to be there. Just because I'm from Chicago doesn't mean I don't need to be in Los Angeles and trying to affect lives. And as long as we have, a group of people that want lives changed and say, hey, all you do is get a little bit less sleep as a result of helping out, we got to do it, and that's what we're all about.
And speaking of less sleep, I mean, and banging your head up against the wall and like looking for comfortable places to sit at Blue. I mean, you do 24-hour hackathons with these kids, where like I mean, what is an example of one of the? You do many of these.
Yeah, so we have one coming up. It's about clean water and having to do with the Flint situation. So once again, how do we prevent another Flint from happening? Or if there is another Flint situation with the water, how do we make sure more people are aware of the resources so that they can bring more attention to these issues? Because ultimately, the best thing about it is how else can we get a student to listen and pay attention for 24 hours on a particular issue? And this is the only way, and that's why we keep doing it. And we have a great team that allows it to happen.
That's great. And karaoke breaks in between, right? That's
karaoke breaks.
That's the hidden secret. I'm going to implement that in my next production meeting. We'll break and do a karaoke break. Oh, they love it. I want to ask you about STEM in Chicago. The STEM educational movement. It's science, technology, something, and math. Electronics. I don't know. But basically, what this is, it looks like to me, is formalizing that kind of training, that kind of technological know-how, and teaching it to kids at the school level. But I see some differences in the way you're approaching this and the way they're approaching this. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think, and I'm sure we have some fans of Common Core here, right?
Oh!
That was a joke.
Go on.
But no, I mean, you think about all these acronyms and things that they're really trying to force something down someone's throat and say, hey, memorize this, learn this, when it should be natural. Let's take a look at the things that folks are interested in first and use that as a gateway to try to introduce them to other topics. So if someone's interested and fascinated with music, film, fashion, or the arts, let's use that as the gateway. Minecraft is a huge gateway for our youngest kids, and they love it. In fact, that they love it so much that they don't even know they're learning. But they're learning Java programming in our classes, and that's exciting to me because, once again, that's what the 21st century school should be doing, is saying, hey, how do we teach architecture through Minecraft? How do we teach community building through Minecraft? And say, because of that, our students are learning and getting better.
Not only did you tell me that Minecraft is the best thing to ever happen to Blue, but also that kids would take these classes for Minecraft and go home, and the parents would call you and be like, all you did was let my kid play Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even know that these kids are learning while they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that was fascinating. So, we get some parents that are obviously, passionate about their students and their kids, I should say. And, it's just fascinating because a couple of them have been angry, and they've kind of come to us and say, hey, I paid money or I attended this class. They didn't learn anything. They just played the whole time. But then we went over the curriculum with them and said, hey, ask your student about this function. What's a loop? What's an if-then statement? And then all of a sudden they say, oh, well, I guess they did learn. And that's been great. And so we say, let's double down on this and make sure that we have more students that can get introduced from that. And as a result, they've taken more classes with us, and they've gone on and done amazing things.
Exponential. I mean, it just seems like STEM is more of, we have these jobs, we want these kids to be able to perform by the time they get out of school, and so we'll train them along the way. But this feels more to me like you're equipping them with these skills and tools and saying, let's just see what happens. And I love that.
They're kids.
It's really smart.
They're kids.
They are kids. let them run and be free and code and play Minecraft. One last thing, we got to wrap it up. But Emile, obviously, thank you for being here. I wanted to ask briefly about the iPhone FBI versus Apple, trying to talk about the unlocking the iPhone. You're a tech guy and I'm not, so I just feel like this is a great opportunity to ask you in front of 3 cameras and 60 people. Okay. What do you think about this whole thing between the FBI and Apple?
I mean, it's tough, and I understand Apple's position, right? You don't want to make it that much easier for someone to get even more information than already can happen. So you can't just automatically hand over everything all the time, especially when they've already handed over text messages. They've already handed over a lot of other information. So what more do you need? And then ultimately, that's going to say, all right, if we do that this time, what are we going to do next time? and the next time after that, and the next time after that, and before you know it, all of our phones are more accessible than they already are.
See, this is why I don't have a cell phone. Well, Emile, we got to wrap it up. Thank you very much for being here. And how can people learn more about Blue and what it is you're doing?
Well, you can go to BLUE1647.com.
Smart.
Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. We're all over the place.
Guys, check them out. Give it up for Emile Cambry. Emile Cambry, everybody. BLUE1647, they're doing amazing stuff down there. It's for the children. And now I'm very excited to welcome up our musical performers. This isn't them, but this is Kaiser and Andrew, my two producers. Give them a little round of applause.